storms come in sizes and they come in seasons. But not only that, they also come for different reasons. When somebody goes through an issue, if you ask him, he will give you reason. When you ask another person, the reason may not actually be the same. Storm come for different reasons. But here is what you must never forget. That surviving a storm is much more than the size of the storm. Whether you will survive a storm is not determined by the size of the storm. Neither is it determined by the season of the storm, nor is it determined by the reason behind the storm. That's not what determines whether a storm will be survived or not. No, not the size. Please remember this. It's not size, it's not season, and it's not the reason that determines whether a storm will be survived. I'm telling you, it's not size. Because there have been cases of people who have been able to survive small storm, all right, and they couldn't survive big storm. And there are some that survive big storm, and it's the small storm that brought them down. It's not size. Surviving a storm is much more than its size. How do you explain it? A man like David brought down Goliath. Mighty storm. And the same David was floored by ordinary Bathsheba. A man like Samson was invisible before thousands of his enemies. But yet, she was a captive in the hand of who now? Delilah. Survived big storm, but floored by small storm. I'm telling you, the size of the storm does not determine whether the storm will be survived. So, how then do you survive? What determines the survival of a storm? Listen closely. You may need to write this down. It's a simple equation. E plus R is equal to O. E plus R. You are in a mathematics class, so be ready. E for elephant. E plus R. R for radio. E plus R equals O. O is the outcome. O is the final result that you get after the storm. Whether it can be positive and it can be negative. O can be victory, it can be defeat. O is the outcome after the storm. O is going to be whether you survive or whether you are defeated. That's the outcome. Are you following me? But that equation tells us that O is actually under the influence of E and R. It is E and R that determines O. O does not just appear from the blue. No. O is never accidental. O is not just by luck or by chance. Are you hearing me? O is a function of R plus O. E plus R. What is E? E is the events. The particular kind of storm you are faced with. It could be financial storm. It could be marital storm. It could be academic storm. It could be emotional storm. That is the event. That is the E. Are you following me? And you must understand something about E, that none of us have control over this E. Nobody chooses his own storm. Storm just find us. I mean, if you are given the privilege to choose the kind of problem you will have, which one will you choose? I will just write NA, not available. But you see, that's one privilege that we are not given as human. Nobody is given the privilege. So all of a sudden, you just find yourself in the center of a storm. And sometimes it's financial storm. Sometimes it's storms concerning your health. Sometimes they are marital storm. All of a sudden, you just find out you are in the middle of a storm. You don't have control over that. But you see, as powerful as E may be, it does not determine the outcome of O. Are you hearing me? It does not determine what O will look like. What determines O is not just the E. There is still another one called what now? R. And you know what R is? R is the response. So, it follows therefore that you have E, which is an event, that is a storm, but how you respond to that event is what finally determines the outcome O that you will have. E alone does not determine O. That's why I'm saying that survival is not strictly because of size. It's not by season. It's not by the reason. No, sir. E does not determine O. What determines O is how you respond to E. Does that make any sense to anybody? If you have the right response to your crisis, you will have a positive outcome at the end of the day. So your outcome is not entirely in the hands of your storm. Yeah. Many people are defeated not because the storm is too big, it's because their response is too bad. That's why they are defeated. Yeah. Bad response is the reason for defeat. Bad response is the reason why people don't survive. It's not because the issue is too big to handle. I mean, there is one story, my favorite story. I've shared it over and over again. Of a young boy that bought a space in a plaza, the ground floor of a plaza. And then decided to open a store there, a supermarket. Open a store there. And by the lintel of the door, he put a signage there as the name of the store. Patrick Uche Enterprises. That's the name of the store. He's into supermarket stuff, sell provision stuff like that. Patrick Uche and Tobias Enterprises. Right? And it was doing relatively well. It was doing well. It was selling. It was selling and things was going on and all that. So, but not too long after that, and the guy was looking forward to a glorious future in his business. But not too long after that, a big company came and bought over the entire plaza, leaving this young man with just his little space at the ground floor. And then when the big company bought over the entire plaza, they now decided to go into the same business as this young boy. They turned the entire plaza into a supermarket. The same thing the guy was dealing with. And you know, for a business that is young and is trying to survive, that is a big storm. It's a mighty one. It can run you out of business. And now, at the beginning of the road, the junction of the road, this big company now erected a billboard. A big billboard pointing people to the plaza to come find them. But you see, this guy has got an E, which he didn't pray for, and he has no control over it. And this guy knows that he doesn't even have a chance competing with this big store. But however, his joker happens to be his response. How will he respond? Some of you will now start praying, oh God, let them fold up. Company like that don't fold up easily. They won't fold up. They won't fold up. So stop wasting your time. If that's your response, then your own will be negative. But the guy must respond. And you know what he did? Since in front of his own store is a small signage, Patrick Uche Tobias Enterprises. You know what he did? He just removed the signage. And then in front of his store, he wrote boldly there, main entrance. So when people get to the junction and they see the billboard that points them to the plaza, they come to the plaza to come and buy, and everybody is looking for the main store. So they enter his store and they keep shopping. I'm telling you, what determines outcome is your response. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You don't have control. But if your response is right, your outcome will be positive. See, you are not defeated because of the size of your storm. What is defeating you is the nature of your response. That's it. That's what I'm saying. So if your response is right, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter the size of the storm. You can always come out with a positive outcome. So what we have in Matthew chapter 6 happens to be Jesus' instruction on how we ought to respond to life storm.